Largest economies gather online. The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson called for this meeting of the world's leading democracies to seek new agreements to help the world fight and recover from the coronavirus pandemic and, in their words, quote, create a greener, more prosperous future, close quote. But the dominant theme is likely to be the unfolding crisis in Afghanistan. And former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair has been outspoken on the subject. Here's Mr. Blair.
And I also understand if you're a political leader, you're under political pressure. People want the engagement to end. But we've got to realize we were in a situation where our engagement was dramatically different from where it was 10 years ago, never mind 20 years ago, and where we could have managed the situation. And the problem with what's happened now, and this is my worry, is that it's not just about the Afghan people and our obligation to them. And obviously, you feel, distressed when you see people realizing what they're going to lose as a result of the Taliban coming back into power. But it's not just about the Afghan people, it's about us and our security. Because you've now got this group back in charge of Afghanistan.
Now we're joined by UK correspondent Jonathan Sachedoti, coming to us from London. Good to have you with us as always here. Now this virtual meeting of the G7 was called for by Prime Minister Boris Johnson up there. What's on the agenda this year?
Well, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's called that online meeting of the G7 leaders tomorrow in order to discuss the ongoing crisis in Afghanistan. He wants governments to find ways to stop things getting worse. In an online statement on Twitter, he said that it's vital that international community works together to ensure safe evacuations and to prevent a humanitarian crisis and support the Afghan people to secure the gains of the last 20 years. And that's because thousands of people in Kabul have descended on the airport, as we know, attempting to flee. And that takeover by the Taliban was much faster than was expected. Britain holds the rotating leadership of the G7, which also includes, of course, the US, Italy, France, Germany, Japan, and Canada. And the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, said on Sunday that the US president would meet virtually with the G7 leaders, as requested, to coordinate policy, discuss those evacuation efforts and humanitarian assistance. So that's obviously what's on the agenda for the leaders when they talk that way. And Biden's already spoken, of course, with German Chancellor, the French President, Italian Prime Minister last week. So plenty to discuss, though, as the crisis continues to unfold.
Now, as you highlight, President Biden enters this gathering in a fundamentally different position than his predecessor, with good relations with all these world leaders, as far as we can tell. So there's an environment for reaching agreements. But what does the potential lie on Afghanistan, for sanctions, on the Taliban, for just future relations from Afghanistan with Western powers?
Well, of course, you've heard that there are those good relations, and there was, I think, some hope among those in the UK that the era of Joe Biden would be smoother and easier than the era of Donald Trump as president in the US. So far, in terms of foreign policy, that doesn't seem to be happening. There's this talk of potential sanctions on the Taliban, and the future relations with the West is something that is going to be discussed, obviously, between all those world leaders. According to Reuters report, a British government official speaking on condition of anonymity, and a second Western diplomat, they quote, said that Britain believes the G7 should consider economic